Okay, so we're back on the breakdown. Wade, Sensei, we're here, and as of yesterday, and I guess today too, as we're recording this, Jake Paul, Anderson Silva, it's been official. We know this. They had their first press conference. Did you see any of this?
I saw some clips. I saw my favorite part was the one with Anderson and Uncle Chael.
If you ever go to movies where you get those little references to like old like Easter eggs and stuff, this was like the MMA community's little Easter egg because apparently,
yeah, that's what I thought was really cool. Yeah,
they hadn't seen each other since the last time they fought in person. So that was the first time they'd seen each other since the second fight. Now, they had talked and stuff on interviews and, over Zoom and stuff, but they had never in person seen each other since then. That's what Chael said. But anyway, outside of that, what did you think of the presser, man? Very respectful, I'll say, from Jake's side, which I wasn't super surprised at, but I was a little taken back by it to be like, okay, this is cool.
I thought it was really good for Jake. I think it was like a major W because he was able to show a different side. Mm-hmm. I think because the whole MMA community hates him. Because of the way that he's approached the MMA community, the way that he talks about MMA fighters. Mm-hmm. But he had his reasons for it. He said his piece about why he says he talks that way, right? And then now you have a guy like Anderson Silva, who I think most people in the MMA community think, oh, Jake's going to be so disrespectful. Why should he fight Anderson? And he comes out and he's super respectful, right? And he's like, I'm going to compete. He was a fan of his.
That's why.
Right? So
that's basically one of Jake's heroes right there.
Right. So now you have a different side of Jake that you're seeing. Mm-hmm. But like, I'm going to respectfully knock you out. But he still has the fighter's, bravado type thing. So I thought it was a huge W for Jake because he still gets to keep his personality but show a different side of it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to hate him in this situation now.
I agree. I think that this is a great thing for Jake. The only thing I worry about, and of course, like all the things you're saying, this is a great way for Jake to show the other side of himself, to try to get more of a wider eye on who he actually is and not who he, not pretends, but who he is in fight build when guys are being, as he said, dickheads, This is more of what Jake, as a kid, looked up to this guy and was a big hero of his, so there's no reason for Jake to just outwardly disrespect him. But Chael brought up a good point in the press conference, right? He said, how do you go, or it wasn't Chael, I'm sorry, that's not right. It was Luke Thomas with Morning Combat afterward.
Yep.
And this is something I'm going to talk about in my video that I'm making on it too. He asked Jake, how do you go from like pushing out of your mind that you're fighting the legend to fighting the man? How do you do that? And that's one of the biggest questions. And Jake answered it all the right ways. He was like, yeah, this cordial stuff, it's all great, when we're here, but in the ring, I'm going to try to take his head off. And that's great to say. But Jake's never really had to do that. Jake's never been in awe of someone else across from him, right? Tyron Woodley, he felt like he was better than. Askren felt like he was better than. Nate felt like he was, you know what I'm saying? Like, he had a vitriolic reaction to those guys because, one, like he said, he thought they were being dickheads. But two, he thought that he was genuinely better than they were and felt disrespected by people saying he wasn't, right? This one's not the same. So if you're Jake, can you flip that switch? He's never had to. Can you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think this is like a different angle, but I think something that will help is the fact that Logan fought Floyd. Like Logan is already his brother fought a goat already.
True. That's true.
And
Jake had no respect for Floyd.
No, so I think it would be easier for Jake to flip that switch, just because he.
But they also fucking hate
more so
Floyd
than Logan.
Too, they hate him.
He believes his own son. Yeah, that's true. He does hate him, but I don't know. But when you're out there, you're still out there. You're fighting. I think he's just gonna try to go. I think also the moment of trying to go for Anderson. Yeah, I don't see Jake like you've seen Jake in his sparring footage go. But at least what I thought, like unnecessarily hard on certain people. In the gym. Yeah. So. You know what I'm saying? I think he has that type of mentality where he just don't care.
Yeah.
He's the problem child. So I just think he's going to go for it. I do think, though, that if, what would be different, which I would assume, is that, let's say he does win, and let's say he wins in, knockout fashion. I'm not sure, the way he reacts after would be the same way.
I don't think so. He even said today, he was like, I'm not going to be jumping on the ropes, throwing my hands in the air, beating on my chest. He's like, I would try to, like, if I knocked him out, like, well, he says when I knock him out, I'm going to try to help him off the camp. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wants to be
that's the part,
through and through, like, respectful to this guy. Because, again, like we said, this is one of his heroes. And really the hero for me, for you, for a lot of people that are around Jake's age that were combat sports fans. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty reasonable for him to act the way he is. And I think, like you said, it's a big W for him. Another thing I wanted to talk about is kind of, I guess, the transition of it. So Jake, obviously, you know, we're in this fight now, right? The legend across from you, but you do have to find a way to beat him. And not that we're going to give predictions here, but again, this is another great question from Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell over in Morning Combat. They asked, how do you beat him? Like, how do you do it? Did you hear what Jake said to this?
No, what did he say? In my video, I explained like what I think his only chance is.
Go ahead. I want to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, this is the part of the reason I think that it won't be hard, like whether he flips the switch or not. I think that doesn't really affect his chance because it's going to have to be a reactionary KO. And Jake, when he's pushed into a corner or gets tagged, he throws absolute kill shots.
Yeah.
Moving backwards, and he's not afraid to, in the heat of the moment or even when he's hurt. Like one of the biggest shots he landed on Woodley in the first fight was right after he got cracked. He's circling away. Woodley comes in like, ooh, I got him.
Yeah,
and bang,
cracked him.
Right, just cracked him. And Jake has that reactionary, I'm backed into a corner, I'm willing to bite down my mouthpiece and throw heat. And that's the thing that concerns me because Anderson has shown in his fight style to be lackadaisical at times and to be overzealous. And if his instincts aren't the same, he's just a couple of seconds off. If he does have success, which I assume he's going to, there's going to be moments where he's going to be available. Yeah. And the way that Jake fights plays right into that. So the thing that I'm concerned about is, okay, Anderson comes in, starts having success, gets too confident. Jake starts circling and backing away. And Anderson gets in there and he plays his little head movement game and maybe tags him again. And he's like, oh, I'm able to walk him down. Or something like he does with Weidman.
Yeah.
And Jake's able to loop something because Jake is willing to throw those shots where most guys would just cover.
Or, I was like say with they're high guard and that's it, yeah.
What's his name? Junior. Like with Junior?
Yeah.
When he was having success, he was just kind of covering where Jake would be like, you know what, I would throw stuff. And that's where I think Jake has his ability. So even if Jake is like nervous or afraid, he's still going to throw his reactionary kill shots, his haymakers.
Yeah. And
that's his only chance anyways. So to me, that's his only chance. That's the only way he wins. I don't think it's going to be off the front foot. There's no way it's off the front foot.
Listen here, man. I agree with you, but let's just listen to what he said because he had a take that quite frankly shocked me. So I got it here for you. Ready?
Yep.
All right, let's watch this.
The journey, but this is a different ballgame. Yeah, I think my speed and my power and my punch output will be the key to winning this fight. Having a higher pace than him and being able to maintain it throughout the whole entire fight. I believe I'm faster and I believe I hit harder. And so using those tools to my advantage.
What do you think of that?
Well, the speed and power thing.
That's not what I pick up on. I pick up on.
No, I know. Like
output
that part is
and lasting longer.
The thing. Like when you said the speed and power, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that'll get you through the first
48.
couple. You know, yeah.
You know, but yeah, the punch output, like Anderson, especially in boxing, he's shown to be a volume guy.
Yeah.
And consistent volume throughout the entire thing.
Almost to the point where he's shoe shining a lot of guys. Like he shoe shined Chavez Jr. just and then would come with the big shots. So it is interesting to hear him say that because
Jake has not been a volume guy.
Not to that point, no. But it is interesting because he is coming down in weight. I know that, right? He's going to be at 187. That's not a big cut for him, but
right.
It does seem like they want to focus on, and I've talked to some of the guys in that camp, it does seem like they want to focus on really upping his output and really trying to outbox Anderson Silva here. Like really trying to be able to take advantage of that age with, like you said, the speed and power, and then put volume on him just in case this thing goes the distance. Now, Jake did say in his opinion, it's not going to go 5 rounds. And if I'm honest, I think your strategy or the way that you're looking at this fight is probably the best way that it goes down. Like, Jake gets put on the back foot, but Anderson starts playing games, and Jake starts playing him back, and all of a sudden Anderson's not like he's not in there with someone that's just like succumb to the game playing, right? Like some of the UFC fighters.
If Anderson respects Jake, I don't see how Jake wins.
It's a tough ask for him. Like
unless
it really,
Anderson
really
has gotten a lot worse. Unless Anderson has just gotten a lot worse and he's off the cliff.
Yeah. No, in like a year.
If Anderson's like, remember when he fought? Remember, for a perfect example. Remember when he fought Nick Diaz?
Yeah.
And he's like, nope, I ain't playing any games with you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to finish this fight. I haven't fought in a while. I'm not playing any games.
Yeah.
That Anderson is hard to touch, let alone beat.
Yeah.
So like when Anderson switched on, if he's gonna respect you and be super locked in, which shown that he's boxed that way, that's one thing. But if like I said, if he has success and he's like, oh, this kid, like I'm just gonna be able to play with him, and Jake's like kind of ducking and then circling out and kind of like look what happened with Hasim in the sparring.
Just invited him in.
Was like, oh, this kid's running away from me.
Yeah.
Okay, and then boom, you get cracked.
Yeah.
Jake was like, ooh, got something for you.
Yep.
Boom, boom, and he's not afraid to throw those hard shots. So that's where, and Jake is not a volume guy. He's bait, slam and run. You know what I mean? And go or like circle. You know what I'm saying? Like he's find space. Yeah. And I like that's kind of like for me. That's the way that I like to approach it.
Yeah.
I like my shots to do something and not throw a lot of things that aren't going to land and be efficient with my energy. And Jake's that kind of like paw, find something. If you come forward, hit you hard, make you pay, get back into space, get some rhythm going again. So I just don't see how Jake's going to be off the front foot and using volume against a guy that's that slick and that has that good defense. Because we're talking the level of defense just went up, dude.
I know. It's
like
it's going to be a tough ask for Jake to go volume for volume with one of the greatest strikers that's ever lived. Like that's going to be tough.
Defensively, what are we talking about here
for
levels?
I know.
Who's the last guy? Was it Woodley's last fight?
Yeah.
Striking defense, we're talking just
I know.
Upgraded.
Off the charts compared to what he's going to see with Anderson. It's not going to be close. So we'll see what happens there. But the last thing on Jake as we end off right here, we have to say this, and I don't know what you've done to ingratiate yourself, but listen here, bro. You're on Jake Paul's radar, and he likes what he sees. Did you see?
I'm a Jake Pauler dude now.
You're a Jake Pauler, bro. It's every day, bro, now.
Some Team 10 merch, bro.
Every day, bro. Did you see what he had to say about you in two different instances? We'll play the video on one, but I think you saw another one that you wanted to talk about. What did he say in his gym in Puerto Rico?
But was that the one where he talked about the scorecard?
Yeah, he was talking about the scorecard.
Yeah, so I saw that one, and
he called the Kinney decision. And again, we keep talking about this, and I think people are just so fucking tired of it.
Well, Jake Paul said it.
Jake said it. You know, we acknowledge.
He said it was the biggest blunder.
The biggest blunder in YouTube boxing history.
YouTube boxing history. I was like, wow, number 1 W.
There you go.
Right, here we go, dude.
There you go.
I will not sit up in the nosebleeds. I will not stop until they know me.